So this one turned out really well, I think. I was worried that it wouldn't, and I made a few mistakes. There's here where I accidentally rubbed off some of the paper, actually. So that was the bigger mistake, but somehow it's not noticeable. And here, I have to try to fix that. But I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I still haven't painted in my crocus flowers, but I'll do that probably later tonight. And I'll let you see where this ends up. So this is lesson 2 from this disc. So, or from this course. This is a Landscape in Watercolor by Karlyn Holman. And it gets top of the stack against these other ones. So I'll, James is gonna, that's his dinner. It's very instant. And I'm thinking he can try this sauce with one hash brown and this sauce with another hash brown. And maybe it'll be good. And the salad dressing is just tzatziki. So I'll quickly talk about this landscape and watercolor lesson. So and then I'll put that away because, like James mentioned, and you can see the lilac is melting. So lots of snow melting off the lilac. I don't want it to wreck my picture because it just means more mistakes for me to fix. I don't want it. I don't want that. So
I don't want it to land on. That was Sam, right? The cherry-headed conure.
Yeah.
You caught real personality on his face.
Yeah. Well, he loved hamburgers, and I think the first time I made him a hamburger, because I'm vegetarian, so I made him a veggie burger. And while I was eating a veggie burger, and he was like, "Yeah, I want that," you know, and he was all excited. And then after that, he wanted everything that I cooked. He was like, "Oh, that's so good! I want everything." So I'd always make him some food. When I was eating, I'd make him a little dish of whatever I was eating, and he loved it.
So you brought some joy to his life.
Yeah, well, you know, I would do things differently now. I had him on anti-anxiety medication that the vet prescribed for him, and there was a nice pharmacist on the north side of Lethbridge here who mixed up syringes full of the stuff for me, because I mean, he was such a little guy, right? He didn't take very much, and I'd give it to him like he mixed it in some sort of I think it was cherry flavored syrup or something like that for him, and so I'd squirt the amount in his mouth, but oftentimes he'd go "Blah!" and shake it out, and I was like, "Oh, there goes your dose of medication for the day."
You're figuring you
so it was really hard to. Well, the thing was, I don't think he actually needed the medication. I think what he needed was a cone, because the problem was at night he was very stressed out, and he would pluck and scream all night, because every feather he plucked hurt, and so he'd scream when he did it, but he couldn't help it. So I think if I just gave him a lot of love and put a cone on him when I wasn't there because he needed constant attention, right? He was very stressed out because the girl who'd had him, she went away to college, and he was left alone, and that really stressed him out apparently. And then he started plucking, and the vet that I talked to said once they start plucking, they don't stop. They just keep going with it. But I think if I'd put a cone on him and then been with him all the time when the cone was off, then I don't think he would have done it. I think he would have, you know, he needed that constant, here I am looking at you and giving you hamburger or whatever. But the first time I gave him burger, he took a bite and he looked at it like, well, that tastes different than I expected, because I think what his teenage girl who'd cared for him gave him was real hamburger. And he was like, oh, that tastes different. But he decided, oh, it's good too. So he liked everything that I cooked after that and whatever. But yeah, and he didn't want it just put down on like a dish or something. No, he wanted me to hold it while he was eating it. So I think what she used to do is she'd eat hamburger and then hand it over, and he'd take a bite, and then she'd take I think that's which is really sweet. So I think Sam really loved the teenage girl who cared for him. And that's what caused all the problems, right? She had to go away for college, and I mean, what places want? She was probably living in a dorm or something. Can't take the little conure with. Anyway, so I was concerned that I was going to screw this right up. When I first did this, remember I was telling you about, the assignment I'm working on now, it's splash, 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 drops everywhere, and it's everywhere, it's all over here. And I realized, what I should have done is put tracing paper over to protect this bottom half, and honestly, and the trunk of the tree, so that I don't have to worry about the splash, splash getting everywhere, right? It wouldn't have been hard.
That bird agreed with you.
And yes, he did. He knew I was right. And so honestly, now that I've almost finished this painting, I feel very good about this technique. I just realized what I have to do to continue to feel good about the technique, right? Because it was a lot of work trying to scrub off all that paint, the drops that went everywhere that I didn't want them. But now it's looking pretty good. I feel pretty happy about it. And I made a mistake here, and what I could do is make the trunk wider. I could do one of two things. I could make the trunk wider back there so that I could support a bigger limb here. Or I can just cover this all up with tracing paper, splash, 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 and problem solved. And then I can make this limb not very wide, which I would rather not make it very wide. So James has an extra little bit of snow in his salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better take that inside.
I better.
Before
Yeah. So I'll think of something else to talk about that in a minute. James, I guess, will tell you about something while I'm putting
I'll
this
talk
in.
about the Larry Sanders.
Okay, you do that. There's my little Miss Magic.
Pauline was watching this. I watched a little bit of it, not much, but complete series. That's amazing. How many seasons did this last? Pauline will tell us. But quite good. Kind of making fun of all the talk shows they had going at the same time in the late 80s, early 90s. Arsenio Hall, Dennis Miller, Johnny Carson. Jay Leno took over from Carson. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is much preferable to any of those shows. I kind of like Dennis Miller until he turned to the dark side. I think he's a Trump supporter now. Anyway, you want to talk more about...
Yeah. I should show you the picture on the back so that you know how much I differed from the lesson. So this one right here, that's I don't know if you can see it, it's probably not in focus, but that's the one that I was doing. So mine didn't end up looking like that, and I was very frustrated at first. Well, James can tell you. I was
you gotta be you when you're doing artwork.
Yeah, but I have to learn the techniques, but I've pretty much learned them now. And this was the first time I've ever used a palette knife. I bought a couple because I wanted to use them, but I'm naturally very timid about trying new things. I really want to, but I'm afraid to do it. And so I got the palette knives, and I'm like, I don't know. I even got some videos out before planning to do acrylics, and they were oil videos actually. But I thought, okay, well, I can learn how to do with the palette knife this way. And I was too scared. Now, this winter, I've been forcing myself to just push forward and keep going, don't worry about how the assignment, just get through it, get to the next one, and keep going all winter long. So I've produced a lot of stuff, and if you look at, compare some of the stuff I was doing 2 months ago to the painting that I'm almost finished now, well, I think I've made some progress.
That's important.
So, I mean, when you think about it, you might be scared to try to paint a picture. I got this out of the library for free. This came from the McGrath Public Library. Thank you,
Thank you,
McGrath.
McGrath. Have we done
And-
anything from there before?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
another art instruction DVD. So somebody there likes doing art, and they have some quality stuff. But luckily, I'm a part of their in Lethbridge. We're part of the Chinook Arch. We're all they're McGrath and Lethbridge are part of it. But even if you're not, if you're in Alberta, you can you can access anything through the Alberta library card system. You just have to put in a request and it'll be sent to you. So if you're interested in this and you're in Alberta, like up north, you could borrow this DVD.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just through the Alberta. Just ask your local public library, care, whatever. I don't know what they're called. They're not librarians necessarily, but they are very helpful. People who work there. Just ask them how you do it, and they'll tell you. They'll show you. It's not hard. To put in a request for something to be shipped your way, and it's awesome. But you're probably, even if you're up north, you probably have some good things within your system that you can art instruction DVDs. So whatever. I mean, when you think about it, you're afraid to start, and you're like, oh, I don't want to waste this paper and this ink, this watercolor paint. Well, for the most part, I've been using dollar store watercolors, which, I mean, that's very cheap. So they're not good quality, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You're just learning. And you can get better stuff once you've learned, maybe. Once you're not wasting so much paint and paper. But for now, what do you care? If you're wasting dollar store watercolor paint, and yeah, the watercolor paper is a bit pricey, but not really that pricey. It's paper. It's not that expensive. So if you waste it, who cares? If you get to the end of the assignment and your painting doesn't look so good, who cares? It doesn't matter. Your mom will probably think it's great, or somebody, your grandma, will be like, oh, this is lovely. So it's great.
You don't have to do the exercises entirely the way they're
No,
assigned.
like I
Pauline
don't.
tries to make
Yeah.
them interesting.
I just do it my own way, right? So,
And
and
you
you've
put in
seen how I do
subject
that.
matter that interests you,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
then you
Sam,
have-
that Jerry-headed conure, was
Yeah.
a real person.
Mhm. So, what else was I going to say about this? Oh, the palette knife. This assignment used a palette knife, which is very interesting for me, because I hadn't before. And I'll show you where I used the palette knife in it. And you could probably tell if you've used a palette knife where I used it in the painting. Because I didn't use it in the top branches. I used it down at the bottom underneath Sam. There were some, and it looks really cool. So I didn't want it to, I didn't want to use it up there because my branches were bigger. But down below I thought, well, I can do some little branches down here. So that's what I did. Anyway, I have already watched the whole thing, both discs, twice. And the last one is extremely challenging. Which
The assignment or the last?
the last assignment on here, it's the snow skate one, and I look forward to it. I don't know how it'll work out, but whatever. And the next one is birds and surf, and I'm excited to try that one. I don't know how it'll work out, but whatever, you'll see. Hopefully, unless the weather warms up a lot and we're out hiking again, then you won't for a while. But yeah, the Larry Sanders Show. I always make the mistake, and I'll say Gary Sanders, Larry Shandling, and I used to all the time when my ex would watch this show. He's like, no, his name is this, but the name of the show is this. Anyway, This is the complete thing, the complete series. And
How
it's
many
funny.
seasons do you think it was?
Well, I think it was 6, but let me look. Yep.
Wow.
So there were 6, but in the show they made it out like Larry had 10 seasons because they have, it's not running.
Consecutive.
Yeah, you don't see it exactly as. I mean, it's a made-up show. That's an actual show.
With some really good guests.
Yeah.
I gotta say. You saw Beck with the rope for a guitar holder, right?
Yes, that was great.
A strap.
But honestly, I was surprised. I don't like Katie Lang as a musician.
I'm not a big fan.
But she sounded like Katie Lang, when she was alive. So if you like Katie Lang and you went to see her live, you would be impressed, I'm sure, because she does sound just like Katie Lang.
She's got a good voice, and she's used to showing off on stage.
And
she used to wear glasses, and she'd be shaking it down. She'd shake her glasses off.
Oh yeah, I remember when she'd wear the skirts and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like which was it? Jane's Addiction, I think.
Oh.
They did a good performance. They did good job. I didn't expect that.
When I peeked in once, Tom Petty seemed to be sitting backstage. I don't know, did he even do a performance?
I don't think he did. Yeah, I think he was just there.
Sitting backstage. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but there were some other people like
well, there's Sean
what
Penn.
was it? Garth
Brooks?
Clint Black?
Yeah, Clint Black.
He was there, and he did a good job.
Yeah, it was okay. I was thinking, if he weren't doing that country kind of voice, I'd kind of like it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like Emmylou Harris. She doesn't overemphasize that sort of stuff. I think she comes from that kind of background.
Yeah.
The one that gets me is like George Fox. He's from Calgary, Alberta. I think he's got this southern accent. Or
you didn't try
Terry
the sauces.
No, I'm going to try
I wanted you to tell the people, oh yeah, this one's good, or this
Well, we're
one's
going to do
not,
a broadcast tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see.
I just didn't feel like open the stuff up. There was stuff falling up from above.
But yeah, one thing about this show, like Larry Sanders, he's such a stud muffin in this show. He's
or a wannabe.
He's having relations with all sorts of women, even Ellen DeGeneres.
That's
which
hilarious.
is funny, right? And in this show, David Duchovny is in love with him, or he thinks Larry Sanders thinks he is. And so everyone wants Larry, and he managed to make his way onto People's top 10 sexiest men in the world or something list, and it's like not possible. That's not possible. And so he bumped who was it? He bumped out of the way to get. It was so funny because it was somebody else that it's like he's not sexy at all. But he has gotten more attractive as he's gotten older. Now what's his name again? That
Oh, you were mentioning. It's not Lou Reed.
No. I can't think of it right now.
By our standards, quite homely.
Yes.
It's not Perlman, Ron Perlman.
No. Anyway, doesn't matter. It was funny.
We were saying he kind of looked like Frankenstein or something.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
know.
A little bit like Lou Reed.
He's not attractive, but he does keep himself in shape.
He keeps himself in shape, and he's a good actor and good director.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Ben Stiller, but world's sexiest? No. That doesn't make sense. So that's funny all on its own, unless they were actually serious. But I don't think. So The Watcher in the Woods. This Betty Davis, and it's a different kind of thing for Disney. I watched it when I was young, probably 9 or 10. I don't know when it came out, but I was over at a friend's house and I kept hiding my eyes, and my friend was like, it's not even scary, you don't have to hide your eyes. And I'm like, no, it's scary, and I was hiding my eyes. And
were you right now?
And I think I hid my eyes pretty much through the whole thing. Almost. It was way too scary for me.
Even as an adult, Pauline kind of like
What
She
I
used
do
to
is
like horror movies, and
I'll
she'd
put
say,
the covers up
"Watch,
and I'll look
watch
through
the
the
show
covers.
for me, James."
Yeah, and then
during
the
this.
scary part. Sometimes it's so scary I have to leave the house or leave the room, you know. And James, you watch and tell me what happens
Yeah.
because I can't handle it. But
The funny thing is,
I don't
you
know
know,
why
like
I watch them. I do.
the stuff really doesn't affect me, and I don't like it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan, I should say.
Yeah, you
horror
don't like the
movie stuff.
genre.
Yeah, it's not my favorite by
Yeah.
any means. But Pauline likes it, but she gets kind of scared by the stuff. But
But yeah, it was a decent movie. I'm glad I watched it because now I've actually seen it. Because you know what? It wasn't scary. But for a 9 or 10-year-old, yeah, I guess. Well, for me, not my friend. She didn't think it was scary at all, and she thought I was silly.
it's
because I was
funny how they
I know.
translate it differently.
I
The
know.
eyes of
It's
the forest.
better in French.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
But 10 minutes gone. Bruce Willis and Michael Chiklis. So this is the guy who was the
Chickless, eh? I bet you he was teased as a kid. That's why he looked so rough, eh?
yeah maybe
They
so.
call him Chicklet. Do they still have chiclets nowadays?
I don't know.
Chewing gum.
Maybe.
Is this guy an MME, former MME guy, or what?
No,
Who is
he was
Chickless.
Fantastic Four.
Oh, that guy!
Yeah.
He played the Thing. He's
Yeah.
actually a good actor.
Yeah, he is. And so is Bruce Willis. And it shows you when you watch something like this, the production values aren't as good. I mean, Bruce Willis has been doing things that are not. He's
Oh.
better than the movies he's been doing. He's
Way
yeah.
better. Bruce, get in some comedies, dude.
Well, you know, maybe he's
Well,
just
he's
not
maybe
getting
got
the-
cancer, but
I don't
maybe
know.
not getting cast in the roles. Hey, Hollywood, get on the stick.
Yeah,
This guy's
'cause
one of
we
the
love
funniest
Bruce
guys
Willis.
ever come down the pike.
Yeah. So anyway, and both of these actors are good. And so you see.
Breaking Bad. He was in Breaking Bad.
No, he
too.
wasn't.
He wasn't.
That's a different actor.
Okay.
Well, we can look it up, James.
Okay.
But I don't think it's the same guy.
Huh.
So, anyway, this you can see that the directors and everyone involved that you don't really think about have a lot to do with how much you like the actors. They're how they do in the film. So I still like these guys, and I enjoyed watching the movie, whatever. But yeah, it's just it's not as high quality as either of these actors deserve. So Thanksgiving, it's a horror movie, and it's honestly pretty gross. I mean, nobody wants to think about food holidays and horror movies together. Nobody wants that. And after the high school runaround scene and she's out kibitzing after she's escaped her attacker, I totally guessed who it was. And I don't know what it was. I think it was just the build of the attacker, honestly. I was looking, okay, well, he's obviously a man. Who else? Who around here looks like they have that build? And that was it. I think that was what solved it for me. So it's not really that difficult to solve. Yeah. And
I wouldn't be able to figure it out.
it's just gross.
I think one time you watched a movie and couldn't figure it out. That's the one I figured out.
Really?
Maybe.
Well, that must have made
Maybe
you
I'm
feel good.
imagining things. But almost invariably, it doesn't matter if it's a murder mystery novel or some sort of mystery. Well, you know, the usual Hollywood things like Columbo, you figure it out because those are made.
Yeah, they're made for old people. So
Or whomever,
They're,
I
yeah,
don't
they're
know.
made for the elderly so that they still feel like, oh, I still got it.
But yeah, maybe I don't know. Like in our family, the guy who liked Robert Conrad as Cannon or Columbo was my youngest brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Columbo.
So my two youngest
Good
brothers
pleasure.
would, after the detective shows, then they'd start play fighting. And my little brother, he was
My dad
4
didn't
years
think much
younger
of me for liking
then
Columbo.
my second youngest brother. He'd pretend he was beating up on him with sound effects. So at his oldest, he would have been 10, but this would have been anywhere from when he was.
Well,
3
maybe
to
when
10
we
years
make a
old.
movie one day, we know who we'll cast for the action adventure stunts, or whatever, the fight scenes, because he can do it.
Well, it'd be a little bit hard. He died in a bad car accident.
That's the one that died.
More than.
Aw,
How
that's
long
too
ago
bad.
Was it?
He would have liked to be in our
It's
movies.
about 20
So
years
we would
ago.
have fun.
Jesus,
It would
it's
just
been
be
so
for
long.
fun.
Yeah.
The Last Metro. This was put out in 1980, and it had Gerard Depardieu and Catherine Deneuve. And Gerard Depardieu actually isn't. I don't want to be rude or anything. Fat slob. In this one, he's.
A Goodyear
He
blimp,
looks
maybe.
okay.
No.
But
He actually looks halfway human.
yeah, I mean, I can't stand watching French movies with Gerard Depardieu usually, because here he is, this not attractive guy at all, and he's scoring with these beautiful babes. It's honestly, it's like watching most porn movies or something. It's just gross. Like, do the ugly guys get in the porn movies with the hot women so that ugly guys feel like, yeah, I could get her, because he can?
It's hard
No.
to say.
How do they get cast?
I have
Nobody
no
wants
idea.
to look at the ugly guys,
Well,
do they?
There's one guy, this would date back to the 70s, who swung both ways.
Well,
he was good looking,
that,
and he took care of his body.
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But there are a few guys that are kind of good looking, but most of them are as homely as up to Herschel Savage. It's just absolutely disgusting.
But honestly, this movie was long. It says 131 minutes. It feels so much longer. And it's in French with English subtitles, so you have to actually sit there and watch it, because you're going to have to read it to know what's going on. And it's not worth the effort. If you just look up and go, oh, Catherine Deneuve. Yeah. But, I mean, how many times that gets tired after a while, too, right? It's just, it seemed like a kind of, like they were trying to be too political or something about it. Like it's about
It's a
World
famous
War
director.
II and, yeah, well.
Yeah, when the
didn't
when the
like it.
French tell it, doesn't matter if it's written or in film. They're the real stars of World War II. Whereas in actual fact, most French people put up with the Holocaust going on and all that sort of
So
stuff.
I was put off by this one, Half Brothers. There's some funny-ish jokes in it, whatever. And there's only some subtitles at the beginning, so you don't have to worry about, it's going to be in English, so that's not an issue. But the whole story, they're talking about there's this dad who leaves Mexico because he wants to find work in America, and he plans to go back for his kids, and he never makes it back. He has another wife in America and another son, and we're supposed to feel good about this guy somehow in the end. Like his son from Mexico comes over and sees him while he's on his deathbed, and that's when he learns that he has a half brother. And it, rather than just